This could absolutely change everything for the Atlanta Falcons. What's going on, Dirty Birds fans? Welcome into Falcons Today by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. On today's episode, like I told you, I'm going to give you some real-time Falcons news, analytics, and statistics that prove that not only are the Falcons getting healthy at the right time, but they could take on the Buffalo Bills. They could win that football game, and the rest of the season's trajectory could look completely different from what we saw just 2 weeks ago. Let's start with a little bit of mini news that I believe also helps change the trajectory for the Dirty Birds. Falcons head coach Raheem Morris says that he's hoping they get A.J. Terrell, who is our number one corner, back after the bye week. I believe this is very, very good news and a positive sign for the Atlanta Falcons. Why? Because he's been week to week now for the last 2 weeks, and we are missing him desperately. Not because the Falcons' defense has been porous without him, but when you put him back on the field, it can only make this team better. And based off of everything that I'm reading and everything that I'm hearing, I believe that AJ is going to be back for the Bills game. Hell, you got more than 2 weeks to get right because the Falcons play on Monday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills, and you are going to need him back for that game. We are talking about currently the best team in the NFL, and that's not up for debate. The Buffalo Bills are the number one team in the NFL right now, and it's not close. You're going to need all of your defensive firepower to go up against Josh Allen and this stout Buffalo Bills offense. Now, before we continue on with the rest of the news that I believe changes the future of this 2025 season, here's what I need you to do. This is very, very important. If you love the Dirty Birds, do me a favor and hit the hype button. You might be thinking to yourself, Moose, what on earth is the hype button? What are you talking about? All you got to do is go to that little comments section, scroll to the right, and click the button that says hype. This is a way for you to show how much you love this channel, how much you love this content, and how much you love your favorite football team. Our goal today is to hit 5,000 hype points on today's video. If you can help us do that, we're pushing some new metrics that will end up going a long way to being able to get you guys more videos on this channel. So if you want daily content, hit that hype button right now. Let's move on and talk about all the other Falcons that are set to return, by the way, which is also very good news. After the bye week, Braylon Trice can come and get off of that short-term IR. His practice window opens up. Same with Storm Norton, Troy Andersen, and Taquan Graham. Now, we talked a little bit in yesterday's episode about how important Storm Norton is for this offensive line, but I really want to highlight Troy Andersen and Taquan Graham. Same with Braylon Trice. If you're able to get one of these three players out onto the field, mainly Troy Andersen, who can even give you more productivity, you're already adding to a Falcons defense that is great in a multitude of categories. I'm not talking like on paper, the Falcons defense is above average, because the Falcons rank in the top categories in a lot of different defensive statistics, which is why when I read comments from people, fake Falcons fans is what I like to call them, that are sitting there saying, our defense isn't that good. We gave up 27 points to Marcus Mariota. If you're actually watching the games and you're actually looking at the highlights and you're watching the film and deep diving into the analytics, this Falcons defense is the reason that this team can boast that they're 2-2 right now. It's not been the offense. So let's talk about some of those categories that the Falcons rank in the top. Did you know the Falcons are number 2 in passing yards allowed per game? That's probably one of your more basic statistics, 135 a game. Here's what I find funny. Guess who's right above the Atlanta Falcons in that category? Oh, we play them on Monday night next week, the Buffalo Bills. They're the number 1 pass defense in the NFL. Funny enough, it's like the tale of two different types of defense. They're number 1 in pass defense, and they're like number 30 in run defense allowed. They can't stop the run to save their life. Bijan Robinson legacy game coming in. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But here's the rest of the list right now, according to ESPN, on who the top 5 passing defenses are. And I think I speak for everyone when I say this is one of the most talented secondary rooms that the Falcons have had in quite some time. I mean, A.J. Terrell, even though he's not on the field, still hasn't really been that missed because this Falcons defense continues to look great despite him not playing. So the secondary itself is outstanding. A.J. Terrell, Billy Bowman, Jessie Bates, Xavier Watts, Mike Hughes, who probably is the weakest link out of all these 5. You got 2 rookie studs. A.J. Terrell's a certified number 1. Jessie Bates is a dog. I mean, Mike Hughes right now seems to be the one weak link. And you could put in a Clark Phillips. D. Alford, who, we know what he is at this point. Natrone Brooks, who just got injured. Like, there's plenty of options that you could put in for Mike Hughes that would probably give you relatively the same amount of production. And they're going to be needed. Every single cornerback is going to be needed for the next 5 opponents. The Bills have Josh Allen. San Francisco's Brock Purdy, probably going to be a little bit healthier as we get into that next game, considering he's got a toe injury. The Miami Dolphins, on any given night, can put up numbers. However, this year they've sucked. So, and without Tyreek Hill with that nasty knee injury, he's done for the year. I'm assuming they're going to be even worse. The Patriots have a young blossoming quarterback in Drake May, and we all know what the Indianapolis Colts have done. So you're going to need and lean on this defensive secondary if you want to win 3 or 4 out of the next 5 games. And I truly believe that looking at the schedule, you could absolutely go 4-1 in the next 5. There's no doubt in my mind. At worst, you should be going 3-2. So I'm going to ask you real quick, before we get on to more game-changing news, what defensive unit has been the most impressive for the Falcons so far? If you're watching during our regularly scheduled programming, let me know in the comment section down below. If you're watching during our live segment, get it down in the live chat right now. I want to hear from you. What is the most impressive defensive unit so far for the Dirty Birds? Now, coming up next, the one area the Falcons lead the NFL in. Number 1 in. And you might look at this statistic and you might think of it as a negative, but I'm going to tell you that it's actually a positive. Now, before I do that, I got to tell you about my friends over at PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every single day, but on PrizePicks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it is good to be right. PrizePicks is the only app, by the way, that offers stacks, meaning you could pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Do you want to pick the more on a guy like Patrick Mahomes' pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns? Now you can pick all of those in the exact same lineup. Only on PrizePicks, though. Follow other PrizePicks players directly on the app. Copy their lineups in one simple click. How does it work? It's very simple to play. You pick the player, you pick the more or the less on their stat projections, and then you watch your money multiply. You can win up to 2,000 times your money this season on PrizePicks. I barely lost my week 3 lineup. I had one more that I needed to hit, and I just couldn't do it. But all you got to do in order to win money, download the PrizePicks app. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. So the Falcons, what are they number 1 in? They are leading the NFL in blitz percentage. You heard that correctly. Jeff Ulbrich is the most blitzing defensive coordinator in the entire league right now. They blitz on 41.5% of snaps. Here's where you might look at that as a negative. The Falcons only have 10 sacks, which is 18th in the NFL. Now, the first thing I'll say is Falcons fans know this better than anybody. 18th sounds pretty good considering the last couple of seasons. They've been dead last or damn near dead last in sacks throughout the entirety of the year. So 18th looks pretty decent right now. But if you're a more skeptical fan, you might say, well, if we're the highest blitzing team and we only have 10 sacks, which is 18th, those numbers don't really sound like they correlate. But I'll challenge you to look a little bit deeper into it. And let's look a little deeper into it. The Falcons have some brand new players. Leonard Floyd, James Pierce Jr., Jalen Walker, Divine Diablo, all four of these players that are key pieces on this Falcons defense, and all four of them rush the quarterback. They are still integrating themselves into this new Falcons unit. They have not played with Jeff Ulbrich before. It is a brand new scheme. James Pierce and Jalen Walker have never played in the NFL before. They've played 4 regular season games. It takes time for players to find their groove in a brand new system / new league. But why is it a good thing? It shows me that Jeff Ulbrich trusts these players and this Falcons pass rush in order to give them an aggressive style of play. He trusts them and says, look, we're going to blitz like crazy. We're going to eventually get to the quarterback. We're going to eventually make sure that the other quarterbacks that we're playing against have no shot at success against us. And for the most part, it's proven effective. Allowing a 78, take 2. Sorry, I had to burp there. That was sitting in a bubble in my chest the entire time. They're allowing only a 78.3 passer rating, which is 4th in the NFL. I'm going to say that one more time. Opposing quarterbacks' passer ratings against the Falcons defense right now is 78.3. That's 4th best for your defense in the NFL. They only allow 4.8% of an explosive play rate allowed. That's 10th in the NFL. And they're getting pressure like you wouldn't believe. 39.5% pressure rate, which is 11th in the NFL. So even though we're not finishing the play yet with the sack, we are still making opposing quarterbacks' life a living hell. Even more reason to believe strongly in this Falcons defense, which is why I say this. If you were to take away one thing from today's episode, here it is. If the Falcons offense can find any sort of consistency, they can win a lot of football games. And Producer Alper, if you want to put up those last 5 or the next 5 opponents, I can prove to you that we can beat a multitude of these teams. Even if you drop the game to the Buffalo Bills and you're 2-3, you can beat the San Francisco 49ers, who might be rolling out Mac Jones. You can absolutely beat the Miami Dolphins. You can beat the New England Patriots. That's more of a toss-up game. And even though the Indianapolis Colts have shown that they're really, really good, Daniel Jones, when playing a very good defense like the Los Angeles Rams just this last week, showed that, hey, he's not as elite as everybody thinks. So I believe truly the Falcons can go 4-1 in the next 5, and at worst can go 3-2 if they dropped a game to the Indianapolis Colts. You tell me what you see. Because the numbers, the eye test, they all indicate to me that this man right here is the right man for the job. This guy right here is leading a new identity for the Dirty Birds. We are a team that relies on the defense. And when the offense is humming, we can beat anybody in the league. Period. Mic drop. Do the Falcons have a new identity? If you're saying no, you're not watching the same team. Because the answer is yes, they do. This is a defense-driven team. And I'm happy about it. Because based off the last couple of seasons, it is refreshing to see that this team has grit, that this team is aggressive, and they are going to go after you every single play. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. A reminder to hit that subscribe button. Like today's video if you haven't done so already. And as always, rise up and be cool.